Good day guys, welcome back to Langrisser M news from the future. So we have come to the phase where another new heroes that has welcomed his SP form, and this actually comes to me as a surprise because previously Zilong did not do any announcement. The actual official announcement that they made is apparently for SP theories. So previously they do not give any direct hint that SP Landius will be coming anytime soon. So surprise, surprise, surprise. And what you're looking right now is SP Landius Mano Sei Kishi coding. So this is magical tech holy knight form. So it's making use of, I always get the wrong name because always previously I played this game called Luna. I'm so used to calling them Lunarian, people of the moon. So this is technology he's equipped. So what you're looking at him right now is not just pure magic, but magical tech equipment that is equipped with the help of the people of the moon. So I'm gonna presume he received help assistance from Virash and another lady. I almost forgot the name, not Batty, but the leader of the rebellion that only came out on Langrisser 5. Oh gosh. Let me guess if I can. She has a 2.0 version in the latest game. Okay, let me do a quick check on the name. Oh gosh. I guess I'm getting old. So okay, nonetheless, as you guys can appreciate the details while I look, and I want to mention a very great thanks to information shared and provided by 梦幻美珍 Soyu, aka the Langrisser mobile app. Oh, okay. Brenda and Virash. So the other one who created technology, I guess, on 90% of the job goes to Virash for creating great technology to imbue with magic power from the Langrisser continent world. So alright, I guess ready, here we go. And the title of this form is known as the Paladin form, because as you can read, it states the Paladin descends. So okay, this is Paladin form, and a quick background story to his SP version. So in this new peace era, the hero Landius, with the help of the Lunarian, the people of the moon, with their magical technology assistant, help build a neutral model Kishidan, which means magical knighthood, okay, or magical knight order. So this knight order is not only to help protect the peace of the Kakunsis kingdom, but also to protect the whole of Yellow's continent. So the once greenhorn teenager has now metamorphed to a mature teenager. The only thing that remains unchanged is his faith and thoughts for protecting the loved ones and the protection of peace. SP Landius has descended. So okay, this is a rough background translations. So another description is the protector of peace, who appease all the mess brought by war, and he is known as the lone hero who protect. He is known as the glory knight who protect the land and its peace. So okay, this is his peak form before he become Hobo Landius, aka Landius 2.0, become his like the mage form. So this is what his sister apparently took on later on to protect the peace of the continent. So okay, the Knight of Mystery. So apparently for some reason, as you can see, he has this magical shield and magical sword, but Knight of Mystery as of the era during Knight of Mystery, the equipment she has is kind of very run down. You see, even the horse that Landius is riding, it's kind of like full of high tech. It's like you have that crystal thing, like a hearing aid device on the horse here. It's like helping, pushing. It gives you the vibe that it's either a mechanical horse or the equipment that the horse is daunting on is pushing its limit to the max or to its best form. Okay, so the things you guys are waiting for, his talent and exclusive skills. So I guess ready and watch to the end for the translations I have done for you guys. SP Landius, the talent is known as Magical Holy War. Again, it's very weird for him to be using magic. I guess they're using all this name because so it makes sense when he become Hobo Landius. Okay, the effect are as follow. Number 1, ignore skill cost limit. Number 2, increase attack by 20%. Number 3, add 15% of your attack to your defense and magic defense. Number 4, when receiving death blow attack, you will revive with 50% HP. This will only happen once per battle. Number 5, when you enter, if there are any allies 3 blocks around you, you will gain 1 layer of this buff known as Glory Resonance. We will short form as GR here. So GR buff has the following effect. First, decrease range damage received by 10%. Second, when being attacked into battle, reflect 10% of the damage you receive by the attacking unit. Third, this buff can stack up to 3 layers and last for 2 turns. So that's it for his talent. So like the latest version of offensive attackers or tankers SP form, they have ignore skill limit. Then another great thing is that they try to increase his own attack by another 20%, which in return add in 15% of attack to his defense and magic defense. So they're trying to compensate for the missing stats over the years, because as of now it's hard for the normal Landius to compete with the new version of tankers released, like from 5.0 or 6.0 onwards. Then the thing you guys are waiting for, Landius now no longer need to rely on the passive skills to only revive on 20% HP. He now has a built-in of resurrection with 50% HP, and the same thing only happen once in battle. Then this new mechanism on effect introduced for him, Glory Resonance, aka GR. So as long as when he enters there are any allies 3 blocks around him, he will gain 1 layer of this buff. So this buff will give you the following effect. It will decrease range damage you receive by 10%, and also when you go into battle. So this is a second effect. It is not just range. Oh, it is just about range, sorry. When you goes being attacked and goes into battle, you reflect 10% of the damage you receive. And this effect can stack up of 3 layers, which means the maximum he can stack up to is 30% damage, range damage decrement, and also reflect up to 30% of damage received. And the effect only lasts for 2 turns. Okay, overall not too shabby. However, there's definitely a downside, is that the 5th effect, when you enter, if there are any allies 3 blocks around you, you will only gain 1 layer at a time. No matter how many allies you had, you only gain 1 layer of GR buff, which is a bad thing. This means that for a full complete SP Landius to take his full form, you need 3 turns. So definitely hope that they should have changed the effects to for each allies 3 blocks around you, you gain 1 layer. So at the start of a turn or within 1 or 2 turns, you can achieve the perfect form for Landius, because as of the current meta, it will be hard for you to have 3 turns of luxuries to gain a full boost of form. And I'm referring to PvP only. I'm not talking about just PvE. PvE wise, definitely not too hard. Then okay, coming to exclusive skill 1. Okay, it's loosely translated as Glory's Protections or Guardian of Glory. It's a 2C skill with a CD of 1 turn. The range is 3 blocks. The AoE type is single target and faction buff effect. Yup, you heard it right. They create these new exclusive skills, has a faction buff effect, and you guys will find out more. It has both passive and active abilities. So okay, passive effect number 1. After casting your 2C skill, Tranquility, or your 3C skill, Peace of Mind, at the end of the turn, cast faction buff for all Yellow's faction unit on the field with the following effects. First, increase offensive and defensive stats. Second, increase damage deal by 8%. Third, when battling with units that do not have advantage or disadvantages with, you will further increase damage deal by 8%. Fourth, the whole effect lasts for 4 turns and do not stack with other faction buff. So okay, the passive overall is pretty cool. So now we have this passive 3C effect too for Landius, and not to mention it's pretty cool. You can't disable this effect even from Wet Ham, aka Evil Matthew, because Landius casting ability or rune emblem ability is that his passive effect cannot be disabled. So he has like immunity to this effect. So you definitely can cast this. So, and not to mention, all you need to do is cast your gut skills. So either your 2C or your 3C, either one of them, the faction buff effect will happen. Though again, I complain that it kind of restrict because it's only 2C or 3C, because Landius has other gut skills like Lance Phalanx. So they should have, in my opinion, they should have changed that to when casting any gut skill, the faction buff effect will happen. Okay, the reason I said that is because it depends on meta, because sometimes we may have come to a certain version or meta of the game where, you know, more or if not most of the box will be full of physical attackers and not just mage, or certain meta or certain era of the gameplay we might reach handful of assassins or handfuls of physical attackers or more handful of mage, so it depends. So these skills kind of restrict you to only bring tranquility or peace of mind, so small downsides. But other than that, it's a very generic effect, and the one that will benefit most, you might have guessed it, is not the usual infantry, lancer, or cavalry class. Apparently the one that benefit most is demon and mage. Like demon class, they are weak to holy, and as of this current meta, due to the introductions of LLR Vargas, a lot of class has been changed to mage, from holy to mage or other class that they can change to. Then for mage wise, they are definitely they do not have advantage or disadvantage against most unit, so they definitely will enjoy the benefit of minimum increased damage by 8% and a maximum of further increased damage by 8%, a total of 16% damage increment. So that's pretty cool. Okay, coming to active. Okay, the active skills are as follows. Number 1, target an ally unit and let it gain 1 layer of Glory Resonance GR buff. Okay, the effect are as follows. Taken from his talent is first, decrease range damage received by 10%. Second, when being attacked into battle, reflect 10% of damage received by the unit. Third, the buff can stack out of 3 layers and last for 2 turns. So basically this is just to help speed up his talent buff, stacking to well, if you cast on Landius himself, he'll gain 2 layers in a turn, or by his end turn in the first turn, so you have 2 layers and can reflect 20% of damage received, and also 20% range damage received by 20%. Or you can pass this effect to allies, but the downside is that this skill has 1 turn CD, so I don't think you can spam it consecutively, so there's a downtime to it. So you can't really abuse this without the assistance of allies. So again, I guess the best partner to go with will be, well, you might have guessed it, the healer is Silica, whom also can receive faction buff from him, and also can help, she has skills to reduce CD of her skill, so she can help boost up Landius more and fasten the pace. Okay, exclusive skill 2, loosely translated as Rage of Knighthood or Fury of Knighthood. Again, it's a 2C skill, a CD of 2 turns. The range is self. The AoE type is single target. At both passive and active. Passive, so we'll be going through with passive with conditions to trigger first. When being attacked in close combat, the following will happen. Number 1, damage received is reduced by 10%. Number 2, for each layer of GR buff you had, Glory Resonance, further decrease damage received by 5%. So the max is 15%. There's a cap limit of 15%. Because the max layer you can gain is 3. So exclusive skill 1 and his talent is to help reduce range damage. Exclusive skill 2 is to help reduce close combat damage. But it's kind of low because for range wise he can has up to 30% decrement, whereas for, again, I may be wrong, later on part 2 we find out more pros and cons about his skills. So based on my understanding right now is for close combat wise you only have damage reduction of maximum 25%, which is 5% lesser for the range, and it does not provide damage reflection. If the reflection is only for range, so we'll find out more. If this way, it might not be that good. Okay, moving to active skills. Number 1, when casting these skills, for each unit 3 blocks around you, you'll gain 1 layer of Knighthood of Fury. We'll call it KOF buff. So KOF buff has the following effect. First, when being attacked into battle, increase range by +1. Second, when receiving dispel effect, KOF buff will be dispelled first. Third, this buff can stack up to 5 layers and last for 2 turns. So okay, not too bad. So you'll be gaining, if these skills do not include Landius, so more, if not most of the situation, excluding when you have summoned, the max limit of KOF buff you can gain at one time is 4 layers before you enter a CD of 2 turns before you can cast these skills again. So unless there is a summon like Liana casting an angel around you, then you gain 5 buff, or if they include Landius, then you gain 5 within the turn. Then again, pros and cons. When receiving dispel effect, this buff will be dispelled first, because you will need this buff to do a full great counter against range attacker. Because a range attacker right now, especially in mage, the minimum attack range they gain is 4 to 5 blocks. So you definitely need to stack this buff to the max so you can do a counter. However, again, it depends on situation. The thing is that when receiving dispel effect, this buff will be dispelled first. This means that if the range attacker, the mage, especially the newer version of mage, they will have dispelling effect before battle. So initially you can counter up to 4 to 5 blocks, which means you can definitely counter up to the range, the 5 block range or 4 block range of the enemies. However, the enemy have this effect before battle, you dispel 3 buff or 5 buff from the enemy. So if KOF is being dispelled first, Landius will not be able to retaliate at all. He will just stand there without counter attacking the enemies. So this is definitely the downside. But of course, this is just my opinion. And of course, the great thing is that you will retain your faction buff and also your gut buff effect. They will not be dispelled off first. So again, like I said, depend on the situation. So alright, we have come to the end of part 1. We will now go to part 2, the pros and cons of SP Landius. So alright, we are at part 2 right now. A very great thanks to information shared and provided by 梦幻模拟站资料库 aka Langrisser Data Bank, and we on this part 2 of the video, which is the last part, we'll be talking about the pros and cons of the skills, and we'll find out more on how it works, and watch to the end for the translations of the effect I have done for you guys. And last but not least, before we carry on, I gotta say, overall, there's one major sucky part about the SP form. I really gotta complain is that SP form, when they change their skin, there's nothing much change about the skin. Like, they are still using the old skin. I thought even for the chibi characters, there's nothing much change. One sad example will be SP Theories. As a lot of fans said, SP Theories, you know, she grown up, have better body assets, better figures, but when you dawn on to the older version of the skins, the artwork is still the older form, which is, you know, kind of bad. The players will tend to feel that they have wasted their money on the characters, because it's a waste of money, in my opinion. Like you see SP Landius, how cool this new armor form is. I definitely wish to see any Langrisser fans to do this cosplay, because the armor suits, whichever we call it, the cape, the sword, is very cool, very nice, very fashionable. So okay, this is a stats change. So the SP form, forgot to mention, apparently is a cavalry class. This means that he can, you know, walk further. But the downside is that I'm not sure if he has that WoW battle form with the walking icon with wings. This means that he can ignore obstructions in like desert terrain and other blockage terrain. If he can, that would be cool. So this is a stats. Okay, definitely great increment in overall HP, attack, magic defense, and skills. I gotta say, definitely this is the strongest or the best SP form we have received so far, because everything in red is the highest stats. Like, if you compare to the older versions, no, not older version, even to SP Theories, you'll see that some of the stats are lower in comparison to the older form. But for SP Landius, everything is a huge increment. So you can see this is an increment in stats. Then of course the bond effect for the heart bond effect, level 4 and level 7. Level 4, the latest effect, the paladin, the Mano Kishi, the magical energy paladin form. Level 4 is when unit HP is at 100%, damage received reduced by 10%. Level 7, when unit has 5 buff and above, damage deal in battle will increase by 10%. Okay, not too bad. This is definitely easy to do it. For all the buff received, this is definitely not too hard. I like this, more generic. Okay, the class and movement, as you can see, is cavalry class. The range is only 1 block by default, and the mobility is 5 blocks, and the moving pattern, as they shown, is cavalry class. So this means that that's definitely going to be a great downside, because he'll be bad for maps like desert and water. But one thing that Kami here can think of to cover and also to boost him is to combo with SP Leon. SP Leon provide a passive of plus 15 to offensive stats for cavalry class. So this means in return his talent, the 15% increment attack, and also to add on to his defense. I'm not sure if there's synergy to it, but other than that, well, if these two don't work, the best thing you had is ignoring terrain obstructions for cavalry class. Of course, SP Leon is not that great in PvP now, but definitely you can have great synergy with SP Landius in PvE maps. Then the faction both are still the same, protagonists and yellers. Okay, so some discussion. So we will see more pros and cons. So first off, so what is mentioned here is, first off, for his talent, first thing, he ignore skill energy cost, so allow him to bring more skills with him. He can be more flexibility. He can go with 1C or 2C. Okay, stats wise, the talent wise is still the same. They retain the original talent, 20% increment in attack, and add on 15% to both defensive stats. So number 2.2, the great thing is they change is he can now, based on his own talent, resurrect with 50% HP after death. So this means if you equip with the skills, the revive skills, this means that Landius can revive 2 times, and this means that he has 3 life. He is a 3 life tanker for the game, so that's not too bad. Okay, point 3 is the gimmick of his talent. So when he ends his turn, if there is ally 3 box around him, he'll gain glory resonance buff effect. So each layer will reduce range damage reduction and reflect 10% of damage. So the max is 3 layers. So you can combo this off with his 2C or 3C skills to try to, in hope of counter attacking and kill off the attacking range enemy. So things we need to take note for this is, through the GR buff effect, each layer you gain, the buff is counted individually. So the buff that you have gained afterwards will not help refresh the turn count. So they are strictly limited to 2 turns only, which is very bad in my opinion. So if you do not bring the exclusive new skill and it's just trying to stack based on your own talent each turn, the max that you can retain is 2 layers of glory resonant buff. So as you can see, it's very bad for this sections. For this part, you guys can see the downside. It's not like other hero buff, like each time you attack you refresh the buff turn count. They don't. So not sure if Zilong will decide to patch this in future. If they do, that would be great. If not, this is very bad, as you can see. So every buff has their own individual buff turn count. They do not stack together. So this is definitely very bad. Okay, that's all for his talent effect. Sadly, not that great. I mean, overall, if you can stack up the buff, it will be great. But if you don't, it might not that good. So this kind of indirectly force you to bring exclusive skill 1 if you want to stack off to 3 stacks of glory resonance buff. So as much as they said Landius will be much more flexible to bring the skills with, that might not be the case. So his talent is mainly focusing on range countering and range damage reduction. So it does not focus on close combat. Okay, exclusive skill 1. Okay, the name. Exclusive skill 1 is again a Glory's Protection or Guardian of Glory. So okay, this skills effect provided SP Landius with the passive trigger of his faction buff effect. So when you release Tranquility or Peace of Mind, you automatically cast the faction buff. They will benefit the effect increment that I've stated early on about the effect. Okay, however, this effect usually will priority consider that as SP Landius release these skills, so this can help SP Landius achieve 3 layers of Glory Resonance effect. So I'm not sure, is it like he entered 2 times, but apparently they treat it this way, and this is a way to help him achieve 3 layers of Glory Resonance. I'm not sure if this is how it should work. Like when you class Tranquility, you don't act again, but when enter you trigger faction buff. It's like a double action enter, and then you gain 2 buff. So not sure if this is a bug. We will try it out during the actual demo play, but it sounds weird to me, in my own opinion. Okay, but if this is true, this is definitely a great pros to the effect. Then okay, that's all about the exclusive skill 1. Then exclusive skill 2, so nothing much about the active sections, because the active section is applying the effects of his talent. Oh, sorry, I'm very sorry. So achieving the 3 layer of Glory Resonant buff is not talking about the faction buff, my bad. It's talking about SP Landius casting the active skills for himself, so he can achieve maximum of 3 stacks within a turn. My bad, apologize. I kind of misread as when you cast a faction buff you gain 2, so my bad. Okay, so last but not least, Fury of Knighthood or Rage of Knighthood, exclusive skill 2. Okay, the effect. So again, we'll be discussing the pros and cons for this. So, okay, these skills greatly improve Landius durability against close combat damage. So when you have 3 layers of your talent stack, close combat damage reduction can be reduced to 25%. And when you actively use the skills, if there is, I think I have my missaid early on. If there's any ally, apologize, is any unit include. So this effect include Landius, summon, allies, and enemy unit. Okay, so any unit 3 blocks around him will allow him to gain 1 layer of Fury of Knighthood, KOF, Knight of Fury. Okay, wait. Let me double check again. Oh gosh. Yep. It's a unit, any unit. So for each unit you obtain 1 layer, and each layer will increase your attack range by +1, maximum 5. So the maximum counter range for SP Landius is not 5 blocks but 6 blocks. So this is very great. Yeah, because his guard skill automatically allows you to counter 2 blocks range. So add on to this layers is gonna be 6 blocks. Wait, it's 6, not 7. I thought it's 2 plus 5. Oh gosh. Okay, apparently it is stated to be 6 blocks only. Then the other thing is when being dispel buff from enemy, this effect will be prioritized to be dispelled first. Then some of you might have thrown the question, and just early on I've talked about comboing with Silica, the last alchemist, or the alchemist healer. So when Silica casts on to the armor protections effect on Landius, who has Knight of Fury buff, the order of dispelling sequence will be Silica's armor protection first, followed by Knight of Fury. Okay, that's very that's cool. That's cool if you have stacked on with Silica's skills. Knight of Fury will be the second one to be dispelled instead of the first. So you will retain the abilities to do far range counter against enemy. That will be cool. Then one suggested combo. So that's all. The last but not least is talking about combo. Normally you will bring the 3C skills with Knight of Fury and Glory protections together, and with this combo you will allow Landius to counter against different sorts of damage styles, be it range or close combat. However, do note that even with this combo and the buff turn limit, they tend to be short, and there's gonna be in between there's gonna be a break. So during the game you gotta constantly release skills to maintain Landius on form. So you can't be silent. The moment you're being silent, you can't cast your skills even for one turn. It might be, of course they did not use the word here, just my opinion, it might be deadly for Landius because your GR buff might be gone if you do not cast new buff to maintain it. You might still be easily killed off by the enemy, especially close combat enemy. Then the new soldiers unit that he can bring is the Fang Knight, the melee soldiers, the infantry that can walk 5 blocks and also reflect battle damage. So this is pretty cool, and this is the list of soldiers unit, tier 3 list of soldiers unit, including new SP soldiers he can bring. Then suggested item build, suggested to bring his exclusive items so you can increase the survivability and reduce as much damage as you can. But my suggestion is that his exclusive item is mainly great counters against range attackers, but not great for melee attackers. Okay, then of course they also talk about other item builds. Later on we'll be going through at the last part to look at the pictures for the item builds. Then for enchantment wise, it's suggested to go with Full Moon or Taunts. So Full Moon is to provide him the greater stats to tank off incoming damage, but for Full Moon wise, personally I'm not a fan because you got to retain at above 80%, so it's like just to block off one attack and that's it. You got to keep healing him, if not he's not able to retain the strong form. Whereas Taunts, with the assistance of Silicas, you can do 100% trigger of damage reflection, which I'm a fan of it. So okay, PvE and some PvP's overall rating is for PvE right now. Even though SP Landius has great stats overall improvement and have passive faction buff, however, based on the currently PvE tank that can attack and guard at the same time is the LLR Dragon Slayer, aka Papa Vargas. It's too strong. Even with great faction buffer for yellows, we have the single banner Empress Enya. So overall, for the unit position wise and SP Landius, it's may not be that important unless you're new players. You have Landius or SP Landius, you don't have LLR Vargas, Dragon Slayers, then you may consider changing Landius to SP Landius. So, so as you can see, if you have LLR Vargas, you do not really need SP Landius, even though he has faction buff. I mean, for all of you players out there who have LLR Vargas, you know he has free revival and he can keep tanking, so it's kind of not a must right now. Okay, for PvP wise, overall, again, SP Landius has great overall increment, have passive faction buff, so he can be used as a unit, specifically as a tanker, to counter against range attacker. Okay, because there's a lot of new type of buff gimmick. However, again, the spoiler alert, the great downside about him is that after 2 to 3 turns, you got to consider to cast the buff to maintain the form, and also think of ways to prevent the buff on your body to prevent them from being dispelled. So okay, definitely overall we see a little bit more cons for SP Landius. Definitely it's not him being weak, but the two main concern is that he is mainly great counter against range attacker only. Then second is the skill cast limit. There is a break in between, there's a break, so you get to constantly think of casting his skills to maintain his buff, and you got to worry about his skills being dispelled. So little to no time to use Landius as an attacker to attack enemy like Papa Vargas LRR form. Like he can guard and also choose to attack at the same time. Whereas for SP Landius, you just gotta keep make sure you have time to cast your guard skills. Make sure he don't get silent. He can keep maintaining his form, and also to cast other protections buff to prevent his own buff from being dispelled. So kind of awkward. Not that he's weak. Okay, we have come to the end. Last but not least, this is the suggested item build for SP Landius. Then of course we'll find more, we'll go through more during the actual demo play on the latest meta that players has been using, because this is just a suggested item build. So alright, this is coming. We've come to the end. What do you guys think? Do you think he's strong or not that great? Leave it down in the comment section below. We'll see you guys on the demo video. This is coming. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.